Well,
All right. Yes. Good afternoon, Andy.
good afternoon, Mr. Shoban.
Yes. Welcome to today's edition of this market review.
It is my pleasure to be with you.
Today, Andy, I know you are managing director of GlobalView Capital and GlobalView Capital Limited, and I want to believe, sir, that we'll be having this review every week or every other week. Um,
Yes, I think we are going to strive to have this review every Friday in order to keep our subscribers and our serving investors informed. For one thing, I come to understand, especially in this time, is that in order to be able to make informed decisions, the
okay.
investors have to be informed.
Okay, good. So I think the viewers should rely on the fact that they'll be getting this frequently.
By special grace.
Yes, to understand what's going on in the market. So for today, we'll be achieving one major thing: review the activity of the Nigerian exchange equities market in the past week, the current week. Sorry, that's ending today, and then we'll also be able to know what to look out for, like the next week, what to look out for in terms of market outcomes or expectations.
I think we should actually be able to narrow it down that the first quarter is ending today.
Oh,
Because
that's
by
true. That's
extension,
true.
Monday and
That's
Tuesday
like
are
end of
public.
Q1.
Yes,
Okay.
the Monday and Tuesday are public holiday as declared for our Muslim our Muslim faithfuls. I will take this opportunity to wish them Baraka de Salah.
Oh yes, yes, yes. I think that's clear then. So I think that's good. This end of Q1, and then we'll be looking at Q2 beginning next week after the holidays.
Yeah, from on the 2nd of April.
Yes. All right. So welcome, sir. Welcome again. So MD, I think I have a few questions to begin today's edition. What exactly are the key events that happen in the market? Probably you could give us a rundown of what has happened in the course of the current,
It's not short. You
yes,
see,
of the current quarter, and then to probably focus on the last set of events that happened this week.
according to the design of the Nigeria Stock Exchange, every issuer is expected to release a quarterly and yearly results. Quarterly, that's every 3 months, and we have over 90% of the issuer, especially the stock that are listed on the Nigeria Stock Exchange, to have a uniform end of the year ending for December 31st every year. So, and for audited reports, because they have to go to and fro between the after the management have certified the management report between them and the other before they are filed. And those that are regionally regulated, especially the banks and the insurance firms, that is why the exchange gives every issuer a moratorium of 90 days from January to March ending to file their audited financial statement. But the exchange too has also taken a magnanimous step to allow the investors to look at what the management account actually look like. They have come out with the option that for those who want to elect to release their management account, or you can call it unaudited financial statement, to the market while the market is waiting for the audited financial statement. And we have seen a lot of it, and from the foregoing, you cannot say that the result we have seen so far in the market are lackluster, because we have seen growth, especially the ETR result that was released just yesterday, massive growth. Everything, all the metrics that are responsible to analyze earnings releases were in excess of 100%. So they actually did massively.
Okay, okay. Thank you for that, sir. So, looking at from what you've said, sir, that means in the current week, that's the week that is ending today, ending Q1. Which what are the key? Are there results that have been released now? Because that's like we should be expecting that many of all of these companies should be releasing their results.
Yes, like I said, a number of, there is a penalty
Okay,
if
attached
attached to if you
to
have not been
non-compliance.
non-compliance, and for those that want to render their results, we have to do that. That is why every Friday preceding the last day for the quarter, you always see a cascading release of results, and that is exactly what we have said. Like I've just made reference to the ETA that was
Okay.
released yesterday, and we actually see today dividend declaration by GTCO, which is one of the best that we have seen so far, 7 naira 3 kobo for a stock of 17 naira. That is a
Wow.
whopping 10%, which I
10%.
believe that is very, very fantastic.
Yeah, that's significant then. So those are major events, really, because of course investors are always looking out for results.
And again, it's not just looking out for results. Investors are looking out for where their bread is better buttered. And that is
Yes,
why they
yes.
are, especially those that are dividend dependent. If you look at it, as much as the result of ETI was fantastic, there was no rush for it today because there is no dividend declaration at the back of it. But because GTCO declared the dividend of 7 naira, the price rose to 17 naira. So to a very large extent, what we have actually seen so much in the market today was those that want to rush, especially those that did not write to the exchange for an extension, because we also have another liberty or the leverage to write to the exchange, especially when you believe that you are not able to release your result as at March 31st of every year.
All right, thank you, sir. But sorry, sir. These questions I have, sir, are focused upon the expectation of investors, basically. So I'll try to be very, very biased, so to speak, to ask questions that relates to what investors will be really, really be interested to hear. I know if we give you the times, you are a economic analyst. You'll be giving us all the all the analysis. But so I want to ask, sir, what sectors are what focusing on for investors in the Q2 we'll be going into next week?
I will not actually point to one sector because whether we like it or not, it depends on. I look at individual issuers and what they have been doing so far. Yes, the banks have come out with this. Like I just said, I don't think that the feat that GTCO has just performed today, that Zenith has performed. The Zenith declared 4 naira final dividend, and as UBA declared 3 naira final dividend. We don't know what may be coming from First Bank. We don't know what may be coming from Access. We don't know what may be coming from Fidelity and FCMB. So if you because of the dividend that was paid by GTCO, you are now sector focused, visited on the bank, you might miss it. I will have so many other issuer stocks that are listed, and I believe that in quarter 2 they are going to do well. Let's just look at it like this. The prices that we pay to take position in a stock are futuristics. That is, you are taking position in it for the future gain. We have other one like take Totalizer for instance. Yes, Totalizer at a particular point in time on the NGX was an underdog. It was on 20 kobo for a very long time. But the new set of owners of Totalizer have shown clearly that no, though they are not departing from the quick service restaurant that they are into before, they are diversified to the blue economy, and the access to the $5 million facility, I think is a very going to be a very big boost. By the time they begin to do that, I believe that we are going to see traction in that stock. And take another one, Ella Lake. Ella Lake has, they diversified too. They move from having pumps to going to agricultural produce, palm oil, rubber, plantation, cassava, and the rest. And You know, for an average palm produce will take like 5 years before it begins to bear fruit. So they have actually been waiting for that. And for a very long time, Ella Lakes have been posting even audited financial statement without the turnover. And I used to tell people that the day you begin to see turnover from Ella Lake, then you know that it is done, because it is said in my place that by the time you begin to say colleagues are very close to the market. But surprisingly, their quarter two, which was as at December 31st, 2024, they have begun to release turnover. And you cannot expect the turnover only at quarter two, December 31st, 2024, to be able to write all the expenses that they have made. No. But by the time we see quarter three and quarter four, formula lakes, the story will be different.
Hmm. All right, thank you for that detailed answer around that. So investors should not look at just sector to invest. I see you mentioned the financial services sector. You mentioned I think consumer goods, right? Agriculture. Okay. Well, I think investors should just look
And
at.
don't also forget, we are still waiting on Dangote sugar and NASCOM. Why? Because we remember that they wrote to the market that they're going to do business combination of these three companies. And we also saw that they wrote to the market that it has been suspended. Uh, it is my personal opinion that why we have not actually seen a much concern towards that was because of its concentration on Dangote refinery.
Refinery.
But from what we have been seeing, to pull a price of petrol from 1,100 to about 860 that it is, it means that the better days are coming, and it shows that even the man himself will be at peace. I believe that as at this time, by the time it has consolidated, they will now have time for that measure. And I believe when it's also come back to the market to announce that it's going to continue with that measure, where we see the Dangote sugar and NASCOM today will be a different story.
That's a lot that's packed in such a short statement. All right, thank you, sir, for that. So let's move on quickly with our questions. So basically the question we'll be asking now is been about the excuse me, the equities market, but I want to look a little bit differently from the investor's view again. If an investor can get, I think, even more than 19% from the money market, why should an investor be interested in the equities market that is churning out some 10 to 12% returns?
You see, in my corporate finance class, we were taught the time value of money. That the one era you have January 2024 is not the same one era you have in January 2025. Inflation would have hampered the value seriously. 19%, I think the last auction, the last primary market auction of T-bills that happened, I think it was this week, the stock rate for 364 days was 19.3%. Divide that by 364 days or divide that by 12, you discover that it will be in the neighborhood of 1 point something. But look at today is 28th of March, and you have just taken position in GTCO, let's say 17 naira, that they are paid 7 naira, that is 10%. And the payment date is April 24th, 2025. Can you compare that? Can you beat that? That the number of days you are going to get a 10%, compared, can you get that 10% in money market within that same period? You are getting 19.3% for 364 days, or you are getting 10% for 24 days. Which one is better?
Yeah.
No, you see, at every particular point in time that dividend has been declared, the only thing that you could be waiting on is the yield, the dividend yield. But there's no way that the dividend yield has not been better than the money market instrument. When you prorate it, when you look at the pro rata, the number of waiting period for the dividend and the number of waiting period for
cumulatively.
You understand?
Okay,
So,
okay.
and again, there is every possibility that between now and April 24, when the payment of that 7 naira have been made for GTCO, there's every possibility that GTCO will be traded 71 naira, 72 naira. So while you are gaining a percentage in yield, you're also getting a percentage in the capital appreciation.
Well, strong points. Except that, well, that's for investors to take a decision anyway. And I know that all these, what do you call them now? These credit companies everywhere, they are probably doing far more than 19%. I don't know, except for the risks, you know.
If you talk about credit company that are borrowing out, those would have gone into insurance to insure some rate of default, which is
Yes.
it is at a cost to them. If you really look at it, do they make that number, that percentage you think they are making because they have to make provision
Of course,
for
there will be
insurance
some costs.
peradventure? Because when you are dealing with human being, you know the behavior of a human being cannot be predetermined. A man can go to sleep happy and wake up the next day sad. So peradventure, they go to sleep happy that he's ready to pay the debt to pay what he has loaned from you, and he wake up the next morning and they just announce that from the village that his mother has swallowed.
Okay. All right. So MD, you are focusing so much on the risk now. Well, you're right there. Anyway, we can't really take that out of the picture. The risks are there, and I guess that's why the rates also are what they set that. So, all right, sir. I think we're getting close to some of our very very interesting questions. So, sorry, sir. This is some 101 analysis questions. How do you, sorry, sir, just in a brief
Please go
manner,
ahead.
how do you analyze or assess the potential for a stock growth? Like for the basic investor, what are those basic factors they should look at? You know, you're not really giving, we're not really giving any specifics here now, but just those important metrics.
Yeah, what we are saying in essence is that before you take a position in stock, what are those metrics that you
Yes.
look about?
Yes.
But because of this program, let me just use what we call the back of the envelope analysis.
Okay.
One is, especially when results are released, that have been released, one, you look at the turnover,